Right now, 9 out of 10 MBA decisions are based on your GMAT score. There are multiple people thinking whether to go for the new GMAT or the old GMAT, but one thing is for sure that everyone is giving GMAT. Even if you're planning to go for a management course or any other course, GMAT is important. But there is a twist. There is a new GMAT and there is an old GMAT. Which one should you go for? In this video, I'm gonna break it down for you as simple as I can make it and tell you when to give which exam. So the first thing that is going to happen is that GMAT would no longer require an essay. Now, this is a type of question which I asked all the universities, that do you look at the essay score of the old GMAT? What they told me, let me tell you that. So in the old GMAT, what students used to do was write an essay, and based on that they used to get a score from 1 to 8. Now if you had a very good essay, that means that when you're submitting your application for the university and you have to write a statement of purpose for the university and why you want to join this university, there is always an essay prompt from the university, right? So if your essay score on GMAT is very low and you write a very amazing essay for the university started thinking, oh, there's a problem. This person has scored very bad in the GMAT and has written a very beautiful essay. And that is why the university started thinking that, okay, there is something fishy. Now, the new GMAT is removing essay altogether. So if essay was a major cause of concern, which it was for me and majority of Indian students, then in that case, it's a good thing for you. In the new GMAT, there is no essay, but there are some cons also. We'll be talking about all of that. The second major difference between the new GMAT and the old GMAT is the uncertainty and the lack of resources. Right now, if you want to give a new GMAT, there are many people claiming that they have the resources, but it's not true. I checked a lot of institutions, they do not have good content right now for GMAT. So take a second, if you're planning to go abroad next year and planning to give the new GMAT, know that there is no quality content out there. I'm still reviewing a lot of things. I've been going through a lot of coaching centers myself to understand which one would be the best material. So take a pause. Right now, there is nothing as such. And at the same time, the coaching centers themselves don't know that which GMAT is better and what to expect in the new GMAT. So if you're planning to go for next year abroad, right now, giving the new GMAT might be a bit scary. First, we don't know whether the universities would accept the new GMAT. They say, the new GMAT says that it would be accepted by the universities, but the universities have not given us the confirmation. Secondly, it is a new test, so we don't know the ranking also. So it is a competitive test, so we don't even know whether, if me giving a correct answer, what is the different pool that I'm competing against. So for this, what I've done for you guys is that I will be going ahead with the new GMAT myself to understand what would be the difference, and within the first week you will have a review from my end, the difference from new GMAT versus old GMAT in terms of the actual paper. But in terms of the syllabus, let's talk about that. The third thing is no more sentence correction. So look at this prompt. Now, usually sentence correction basically meant was that we had to draw parallels. Now, GMAT does not want you to focus on that. GMAT does not want you to focus on grammar. What it actually wants you to focus on is reasoning. So sentence correction has been dropped. More weightage would be given to reasoning. So that's a good thing, because even I was not good at sentence correction. Now I don't have to remember any of these rules. The fourth point is the data insights part. So we used to have IR on our old GMAT, right? Now this has been transformed into data insights. Not much difference, but the IR was not scored in your final GMAT score. So you always hear 720, 730 GMAT score, right? Now this IR would not be scored in that. But the data insights, the new data insights that we have will be scored in that. So if you're a bit bad at data insights, reading graphs, understanding the inference of graphs, then that's a bad thing for you, because this would be now added in the final value of your score, the final score that you get. So in essence, what's happening in the old GMAT, there used to be quants plus verbal. If you had a good quants plus verbal score, you used to get a high score. Now in the new GMAT, you have quants, verbal, and data insights. So there's one more additional thing that you have to give, and based on all these three, you will get a final GMAT score. Fifth are the changes that are happening in the quant section. Now in quant section, in the old GMAT, we used to have geometry. Now what GMAT has started thinking, the organization has started thinking, is that geometry is not usually required on day-to-day basis. So the 5 to 6 questions that we were giving in geometry, let's just let go of them. So in the old GMAT, you had 31 questions in quant section. Out of that, 5 to 6 used to come from geometry. Now you will, in the new GMAT, only have 21 questions completely focusing on arithmetics, the basic maths that we used to have, the math that is required in the business world, and we will only have 21 questions. So the time of the test has also gone down considerably. Next point is, in the old GMAT, whatever you wrote was like a patthar ki lakeer. You selected option B, that's it. You can't go back and change that. But now in the new GMAT, the Focus Edition, what you can do is you can complete your paper, flag some questions. So let's suppose you are not sure about some question, or some question you're taking too much time, you can flag that question, go ahead and then come back to that question and answer that. The only trick here is you can only do that for 3 questions. But honestly, whatever I have seen from the students that give my GMAT mocks is that you don't change more than 3 answers. So 3 is more than enough. Just know that if you know the answer, let's just give it right now. If you don't, then only you can flag it and mark it something else to move on. But other than that, take some time to give the answer right then. But if you're fairly certain about an answer, mark it right there and then so that you don't have to come back and change it. Now the next point is the major difference. What are the admission committees thinking about it? So I've talked to a lot of admission committees and all they've said is that it is a nuisance. They won't come on camera and say this, but all they're saying is it's a nuisance. Let me show you a picture. Now look at this. Right now on the new GMAT, 805 is 100 percentile. And at the same time, 745 is also 100 percentile. So if you're getting a 745 on the new GMAT, that means you're getting 800 on the old GMAT. What? So if I look at a percentile of 89%, on the old GMAT, 700 score used to be 89%. On the new GMAT, 645 is going to be 89 percentile or around 90%, which is just so weird. Look at 80%. At 80%, in the new GMAT, you're getting 615 and in the old GMAT, you're getting 670. So this is just going to be a nuisance for admission committees. And round 1 of applications where majority of Indians should be applied, you can't because the new GMAT starts on 7th of November. By that time, majority of the universities would not be accepting round 1. The round 2 would have started. So that's a major cause of concern. Now you will be giving in round 2. We don't know how the results would come out. So that's a major cause of concern. Now, what GMAT has to say about it? GMAT says that we will be giving the universities the comparison list where the old and the new, the photo that I just showed you, they will be giving the universities that photo. But would the universities accept it? We don't know that right now. They say that the universities would accept it. Universities have not mentioned that on their websites. Many of the universities have, many haven't. So you will have to ask every university that you're applying to whether you would be accepting the new GMAT score. So that's a bit tricky. If you're planning to give GMAT next year, amazing for you. Yes, you can give the new GMAT. If you're giving the GMAT this year, for the next year admissions, these are the questions that you have to ask your university, whichever university you're applying to. And yes, if you're applying to universities, there is a form in the description. My team also helps with the admission process. You can fill that form and my team will get in touch with you and help you with the admission process. Now I'll tell you in a normal day what you're comparing. In a normal day, what you're comparing is the old GMAT versus the new GMAT. On the old GMAT, you have geometry, sentence correction, and the essay writing. In the new GMAT, you have a new data insights part where you will be studying more about graphs, and this would be kept in the score. This is the major difference that you have. If you ask me, in general, Desis would be more comfortable with the newer version of GMAT, but the only problem is, right now we don't have good resources. We don't know whether the universities would accept it. So those are the two major concerns, but I will make sure that you know which is the best way to go ahead with the new GMAT. What I would be doing is giving the new GMAT within 1 week of it being releasing, and that video would be here if I've already shot that video. If I'm not, then you should watch this video in the meantime. This is also important for GMAT students, but if I've done it, then this video is what you should be watching.